joined by Maryland defensive back Ryan
Yes,
Barnes.
sir.
How's it going, Ryan? Appreciate you coming on the Zoom call with me.
No, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. I just got a haircut. Like we were talking about doing this maybe a week ago, and I was like, man, I gotta wait till I get a
Mm.
haircut. So here we are.
Yeah,
So
it's been a struggle with not being able to get to my barber, but hopefully soon, hopefully.
yeah, you look good, man. Nothing to worry about there. Um,
Appreciate it.
so let's talk about recruiting. So last night, the
hmm
NCAA announced that dead period is going to be extended through June 30th. I know a
hmm
bunch of schools were talking about June official visits, including Michigan, I believe was set for June
hmm
19th weekend.
Yes, sir.
With that being canceled, how's this really affecting the recruiting process for you?
It's definitely different, not being able to get out to see schools because that's a big thing with I think a lot of recruits is being able to get out and see the school in person. But I feel like that with this whole situation, there's a silver lining in it is just being able to talk to coaches as much as we're doing, and just building these relationships with them because they'll be our future coaches no matter what school it is. So I think there's definitely some good and some bad in it. But hopefully soon everything clears up, everybody stays safe, and we're able to get back out.
Man, you talk about building relationships with coaches. I know your phone's
Mhm.
probably. I mean, I don't. You probably got 15 texts just in the
Mhm.
past couple minutes. Walk me through a normal day. Like what's a day like for
Mhm.
you? Especially because you're still maybe you're wrapping up junior year of high school.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know where you guys are at in your school calendar, but what's a day like for you? Just I mean, wake up a text message, go to bed with text messages,
Mhm.
Zoom calls, all in between.
I mean, I'll get a lot of them through the day, but it's nothing that's overwhelming. I'm able to get back to coaches when they get text me. I'm still able to work out, go out to the field, get some working out there, and then also do schoolwork, lift and stuff like that. Just being able to balance everything out. It's not been overwhelming. I've been able to handle it pretty well. I've built kind of a schedule throughout the day to where I'm able to get to everything I need to.
Cool. Now you had mentioned that visits are a really important part of the process, and we've been seeing a lot of recruits. I'm sure you have as well. Commit
Yeah.
to a school without ever visiting. Is that
Yeah.
something that's crossed your mind? I know even at like a school like Notre Dame, you haven't visited, and correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't visited there as a recruit, but I know you visited
Yes.
there a few years ago just
Yes,
as a
sir.
kid.
Mhm.
So has that thought crossed your mind of, I might pop without ever seeing that
Mhm.
school?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely something that as a family we've talked about. Just you can't hold out forever. Spots do fill up, and it's a business, and just you want to be able to go to a place you want to be at. You can see yourself being happy at. So that's definitely been something we've been talking about. It's something that visiting is not something we need; it's a want mostly. We've been able to, see videos, talk to coaches, do everything pretty much the same as we would on a visit, other than be face to face and be on campus. But yeah, we've talked about committing without seeing a school. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we're able to, get out and see the schools. But we've talked about that being an option.
And what is your timeline looking like right now? Like, is there a point where you've got to draw the line in the sand and be like, right, I'm not waiting past,
Mhm.
August or September to take
Yeah.
visits. Like, do you have any idea on what a commitment timeline might look like for you?
Our goal is what we're doing is we're gonna make the decision before my senior season. That's what we're planning to do, whether it be a week from now, a month from now, or right before the season starts. Whenever we get that, feeling of we think this place is going to be a home for me, that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Because just spots filling up, we want to be able to, as I said, be somewhere where I want to be happy there, and not be forced into a situation where I'm at somewhere where I'm not happy. And that's our goal, is just to make sure we're done. We've got it done before the season, so I'm able to just focus on playing and doing what I have to do.
I mean, you talked about finding that home and that home feeling.
hmm
What are some important factors to you in this recruiting process? I'm sure you're doing a
hmm
ton of research. So
Yes.
what are some of the biggest things that you're looking for?
My parents always preached academics first for me, me and my younger brother. So just the fact that the school houses my major, I'm interested in three different things: marine biology, criminology, and psychology. Any of those three I have interest in. Secondly, would be just a great campus environment, somewhere I can see myself being happy at if football wasn't in the picture. And then finally, just a coaching staff that wants to develop me for the next level, which is uh, something that I want to do is play in the NFL. So having a coaching staff that not only is there to develop me, but wants to develop me, get me better.
I know Notre Dame's a school that's coming after you hard. What's that staff's biggest
Hmm.
pitch to you? Like, what do they really tell you when you have those Zoom calls and texting and phone calls with those guys?
Hmm. Just that, it's a family there, and I know that word gets tossed around a lot, but just the genuine feeling of sacrificing for each other, and then just being able to play early in my career at corner, safety, nickel, whatever it be, whatever we find is the best place for me, is just those are kind of the things that we talk about on the phone, other than just checking in with each other.
What are those guys like? Like, what do you think about Mickens, Lee, Kelly? Sure, three
Hmm.
different guys, but
Hmm.
what's the vibe you get from them?
They believe in what they're doing. All three of them, as you said, they're all different people. But every time I talk to each one of them individually, it's the same thing. It's not one someone's preaching one thing and someone's saying another thing. They all are on the same page, and they all want the same thing for the program, which is to win that national championship.
What stands out about Notre Dame? Like, I know you haven't really
Hmm.
like made top schools yet, but reading the
Hmm.
tea leaves, seems like Notre Dame's certainly one of your top
Yeah.
options. What do you really like about them? What interests you in Notre Dame?
Hmm. Um, just the balance between academics and athletics, great academic school, and then obviously a great athletic program, and also just the networking that they have around the world and with jobs and stuff like that. Because football isn't forever, so you're gonna need a plan after football, and just the network they have, the network base that they have with people not only all over the country, but across the planet. It's something that my family has been paying attention to, and they've talked to us about, because it's not a 4-year deal; it's a 40-year deal. And that's kind of how we've been looking at each school, is just making sure that network base is there. And Notre Dame definitely has one of the top ones in the country.
So Notre Dame's, a school that's recruiting you hard.
Mhm.
Name some other schools that are really after. We know Michigan probably is one,
Mhm.
considering that you were going to
Yes, sir.
officially visit there. Who
Mhm.
are some of your schools coming after you the hardest?
I mean, there are a lot, and most of my list has, been in contact with me every day, or not, if not every day, every other day, just making sure me and my family are doing good. I wouldn't be able to name any schools specifically just because of the amount of them, but they all have shown their levels of interest in just in this communication and throughout this process.
What are some things that have come as a surprise during this process? Maybe
Mhm.
when you were thinking about being recruited before that first offer, before coaches really started hitting
Mhm.
you up, you might have envisioned what the process may look like. And now here you are,
Mhm.
30, 40 offers or whatever it is. And you probably have a much different view of the recruiting process
Mhm.
now. So what are some of those things?
Just the speed of it. It all goes fast. Just in the span of the 3 months, I had 20 some offers, which I would never have expected to come as fast as it did. That was a big surprise, and just the volume and the amount of schools that actually have interest in me is also surprising. Like, I always knew that I had the talent and ability to play on the college level, but to have uh, this many schools have me as a priority and want me to play for them, it's definitely come as a big surprise, not only for me but for my family.
Now, your younger brother, you touched on him really briefly, a class of
Mm.
22 prospect, also a defensive back.
Yes, sir.
He picked up his first offer a couple weeks ago from
Hmm.
Michigan. We were just talking before we
Hmm.
started recording here. East
Hmm.
Carolina offered him this morning.
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
sir.
so if a team's got its best receiver out there, who's locking them down? Is it you or Bryce?
I would definitely have to go with me. just because me and him we're always competing, whether because we're always out on the field together, whether it just be us two or us and a few of our teammates. But me and him, no matter what, we're always out there competing, doing what we need to do to get better. So if you asked him that question, he'd have a different answer. But for me, it would be me.
What's some advice you can give your younger brother about the recruiting process as he's just starting? I mean, you know a
Mm,
great deal about it, and what it
mm.
looks like in this
Yes,
time
sir.
period. It's not like you were recruited 20 years ago, like what it's like right now. So what's some advice you can give
Mm.
him?
Have fun with it is probably the biggest thing because it'll come. It's gonna come to an end. Um, and just being able to have this dream come true is definitely something you want to be able to have fun with. You don't want to stress over it. Um, just have fun while it lasts, and it does come time to make that decision. Make sure you've done your due diligence on the place, and make sure you're happy there. Those are pretty much the biggest points that I would give anybody.
Well, Ryan, I appreciate you joining this Zoom call with
Mhm,
me, for Ryan Barnes, a big time defensive
mhm.
back from
Yes,
Quince
sir.
Orchard High School, Mike Singer, and
Mhm.
appreciate you guys watching.